And I guess 2009, Russia released some Soviet video in Soviet that they found like in one of the lakes in Russia. They think that they found like alien, like I don't know. I tried telling it, but it wouldn't fucking work.
Yeah, Blue, we're live already. But hey, did you see that shark thing that happened over the weekend?
Yes,
over the
Galveston.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy, man. Well, hopefully we'll take a bite out of this show just like that. We'll leave it at that.
Bombshell testimony from military officers. They say UFOs are real and they are a threat to national security.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Creatures of the night, be prepared to witness the weird, unknown, and extraterrestrial. There's no need for roads where we're going. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Real life forms. Researchers at Harvard speculate that an unidentified technologically advanced population could be secretly living among humans on Earth.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
The Garden State might just be a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings.
To infinity and beyond!
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one-stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Alongside with me is Blue. Blue, how you doing, man? Look, you're looking good out in space, man. How's reception out there?
It's actually really good out here. You know, I'll be floating around, lightheaded and shit.
Oh man, you working tonight, bro?
No, I'm off tonight.
Are you having a brewski? Is that what I'm hearing?
I might have one in a little bit. I was just thirsty right now, so I'm quenching my thirst with a little bit of Powerade, but I might get a beer here in a minute.
All right. Well, let me know, man. I might join you. I'm not working tomorrow either. I had to work today, and it was a long day, but hey, I got the intro done. What did you think about that?
That's good, man.
You like it?
It was a good intro.
Good deal. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you're new here and you're tuning in. So today's topic, or the title of the show is, new research proves aliens are amongst us. Well, first and foremost, let's look up the what this is all about. Now, this is referencing the a Harvard, I guess, study claiming. Well, here's the title here: Harvard UFO study claiming aliens could be on Earth disguised as humans is a thought experiment, expert says. So there was a paper written out of Harvard giving basically the chances of extraterrestrials visiting Earth, and it kind of goes through a lot of possibilities, and that they believe that they're already here. So, Blue, before we get into that article and then we break it down, and then we're also going to look at a couple of UFO videos that are kind of interesting. But before we get that, Blue, what do you think about the possibility of aliens disguised as humans?
I mean, there's some people that can do some out of this world kind of things. Who knows if they're actually human?
Yeah,
if it's an alien just oversharing their skills.
True. I mean, there is that possibility. My thing is though, Blue, when I think about extraterrestrials and aliens or beings not from Earth, I can't imagine, another Earth-like planet out there that's exactly like Earth, where the contents and the atmosphere are the same, the breathing, is the same, they have the same type of germs, or at least they probably would send probes out here to see what kind of germs are out here. Maybe they immune themselves out there, but I don't know. I mean, don't you think that they wouldn't be just, all nilly-willy, or do you think that when we see or when we hear about these gray aliens or whatever they could be. Do you think that they maybe aren't even human? Maybe they're robots. What are your thoughts?
I don't think there would be robots. I think there is something out there, man. I'm not sure if you. I like sometimes tuning into good old Joe Rogan, and
Mhm.
he had somebody on there talking about one of the little planets that hovers around. I want to say it was Mars.
Mhm.
So I guess they had this telescope, hover around it, and it looked like there was lights on, right? It looked like there was, and the scientists like, oh, that could be, since it's so cold, it could just be, the sun reflecting off the ice particles.
Right.
But the other side, where the sun wouldn't reflect, or where it's the dark side of that moon or whatever they were calling it, by the time the telescopes orbited on that side, they can still see a light inside the planet
Interesting.
or moon or whatever it was. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff out there that we haven't explored yet.
This is true. We probably have about like less than 1% of 1% of the known or what is the possible universe. You know what I'm saying? It's massive. So the thought that there's not life out there somewhere else is probably ignorant, right? However, the thought that they could get here is where the question comes in. Now we know that humans have relatively been on Earth, for a blink of an eye. I mean, I think they estimate that the Earth is about like 4 billion years, somewhere around there. And, humans have only been on this planet for about a quarter of about 250,000 years. So if that's ended up being true, I mean, we've only been here in a blink of an eye. And when you look at the technology that we have created or whatever, it's only been here recently. So it would probably speed up or whatever. But, to also exist at the same time, given how many billions of years it took for life to develop and become advanced here on Earth, I think that's also another number that needs to, or another thing that needs to be realized. I'm fairly positive there are more extinct advanced civilizations out there than there are current ones that are around. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think
That's loud.
we're still. Yeah, sorry, it takes me forever to move my mouse on a mouse pad. We're
fine.
young as a planet, and there's a lot of stuff that we still can't explain. There's Easter Island, the pyramids, the pyramids in Mexico. Of course, we know how those got built, but the other pyramids in Egypt.
Well, the
And
ones
then-
the ones in Egypt, was it Hancock? I think Hancock. Can't remember what his last name was. He came out on the Rogan show. He was saying that he theorized that the some of the pyramids in Egypt were significantly older than what they believe was renovated 6,000 years ago or so. And so they think there's some water erosion, which the data proves that water wasn't in there at that amount of like did cause that much erosion. It would have had to have been there 25,000 years ago. Is it possible that there was a civilization that was extremely, advanced and they're no longer here? Maybe
Yeah.
they came up with a shot or something and screwed themselves too.
There's a civilization that I don't see a lot of people talk about, but that were discovered not too long ago. I want to say it was off the coast of like Japan or China, like one of those two. But it was like an underwater pyramid, like in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And there's statues and everything. Like it's a really crazy place for how to get there. Of course, we're slowly eroding back into the ocean, as some scientists might say.
Yeah.
They're blaming it on global warming, but that's just the way the land's moving, on the platelets are moving or whatever. There was just that big. I want to say it was somewhere. I can't remember which southern country it was, but there was a big erosion where the ground split. Maybe a football field apart, but for miles.
Okay.
So it just happened like this past week, and they're thinking it was from platelet shifting, and then the hurricane that was hitting South America.
And so you're saying that the water split?
No, the land did. Big old, like how here in Canyon Lake,
yeah,
about 15 years ago, they built a dam here in Canyon Lake in Texas, and it's a really famous erosion that happened, split, because it put so much pressure on the dam that the water split the ground open, probably about, I would say, half a mile south of the dam, and it just popped it right open. The water, flooded all that area. But geologists from all over the world come and see this erosion because it split it apart, maybe a football field apart, and it split it up in perfect condition where you can see all the layers of that, all the layers and all the years of the way everything's grown. You can't do that when they do it with machines because they end up tearing it all apart and mixing it all together. So they have it fenced off. Geologists from all over the world come look at that thing.
That's crazy, man. Maybe we need to get out there.
I've been out there. I mean, I haven't walked that area.
Right.
It's fenced off, but I'm pretty sure you can walk to the lake and you can probably get to it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we need to go check that out. But going back to the UFO stuff, the scientists here, and let me bring this back up real quick. Well, you know what? Going back to what we were talking about as far as advanced civilizations in the past, right? This is an area out. I think it's called the Eye of Africa or something like that. This is in Africa. There's a guy that comes out. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he's been on Rogan a few times, and he speculates that this used to be Atlantis, and that there was advanced civilization prior to, a great flood, right? Which has been reported, I think, in the Bible. It's been reported in several different religious, like almost in all religions. They speak about a big flood. And you look at the Sumerian texts, they talk about a flood. This area may have flooded, almost 100,000 years ago, or so, maybe a little bit less than that. And this could have been what they thought it was Atlantis. And Atlantis was also reported by a few places, right? It came up in a couple of different places. It wasn't just in that one thing. I can't think of the name of the book, but it wasn't just in there. It was another place, and this is another angle of it. Now, this is what the lost city of Atlantis was supposed to look like. It was land covered by a circle with more land, and there was water in between. And when you look at this area here, I mean, it kind of looks like that. And you can kind of see where it looks like, in my opinion, like you can kind of see the direction of flow of water. What do you think, Blue?
Yeah, I mean, you can see where they had the openings. Like, to me, it looks like it's what do you call them? Moats. So when they would be attacked, they would only have to use the bridges.
Oh yeah, moat.
Yeah.
I mean, possible, and I think that a lot of folks would be like, well, where's the buildings? Where are the things? I mean, if this thing was maybe almost like 50, 60,000 years, old. I mean, I'll be honest, like how long do you think it would take if there was no humans where we are now before the earth would take over, the street, the sidewalks and stuff like that? I mean, I already see it, just pulling into my neighborhood the other day. I was talking, I'd seen some grass coming out of the sidewalk and out of the street and stuff. And I actually was telling my wife, and I was telling her, I was like, man, that's coming out of the ground, and we're using that all the time. Could you imagine if we just if one day there just would nobody here? I think Earth would probably take over. The land would take over in a matter of a few years, maybe a couple of decades, maybe. And then I think that it would have destroyed the concrete, and those things would have been rock. The asphalt.
There's a perfect evidence of that actually happening when you see videos of people returning to Chernobyl, where they had to abandon it because of the radiation.
Yeah.
You can see exactly what happens to the landscape. It takes over. It regrows. The concrete splits and the plants just grow over everything.
Yeah, dude. And so if this happened a very, very long time ago, much longer than we anticipate, and if, let's just say this predates, the Egyptian pyramids and the Sphinx by tens of thousands of years, and it was unoccupied and it had gotten flooded and things of that nature, and it was no longer habitable and it became desert, as you can see. I can see where, the world would just take over. Erosion would happen. A lot of sand in that area now, so wind, sand, that's going to erode a lot of things. The only reason the Sphinx and the pyramids are all up today is because of remodeling done over the centuries. I mean, I believe that Egyptians remodeled, or what's the word I'm looking for? They rebuilt a lot of it. They kept up with it.
I mean,
the Sphinx and stuff.
Mexico did the same thing. I remember seeing a documentary of when they first found the pyramids or the ruins in Mexico. They were in a very vast, deep part of the jungle. It was covered pretty much. And then after a while, they cleared everything, man. And not the tourist attraction. The jungle's still there, but they cleared it for maybe 2 football fields on each side. Yeah, the Mayan temples.
Well, there was a story about the Amazon. If I remember correctly, there was these Europeans that went into the Amazon, and there was a city, and this is where a lot of the gold story comes from, like a city of gold out there. And from what I remember, I don't remember how much of it's true, but these Europeans went there, they loved it, they enjoyed it. Then they went back, and they spoke of the city and stuff. And so back in the day, I think this was in the 1400s. Back in the day, it took a while for them to get everything going to prepare for a trip back. So I think it took them 2 or 3 years, these explorers. And when they got back, they couldn't find anything, nothing. They couldn't find the city. There was nothing there. There was none. There was just jungle everywhere. And that was another situation where the earth just took over. And in that situation, because of the rainforest and because of the, how much vegetation and stuff that is out there, and the conditions for growth there, it happened within a couple of years, and it was unrecognizable. You know what I mean? The Swamp Rose. Hey, Ellis, how's it going? Thank you for joining the show. She's also covers she's been on the show, friend of the show. She's been talking about the Brian Koberger case. Says, Blue, what do you think about lizard aliens? You're talking about aliens in the ocean right now. So what do you think about lizard aliens, Blue?
I think they're more believable than, I would say, the mountain Nevada desert kind of aliens. Because there's a lot of stuff in the ocean and lakes that we don't know about, man.
Right, I don't disagree with that.
Just think of what just washed up. I think it was this week, and it was somewhere. I can't exactly tell you where, because I just saw the photo, but it was like a photo of, and it was in Asia or somewhere. The words are on, where I can't read them, but there was I would call it the Kraken, man. It's either Chinese. I can't say Chinese, Japanese, Korean. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was in that part of the world. But one of the this big old squid, dead squid, washed up on shore, and it was at least 2 buses.
Dang.
Yeah, man. You see the crowd standing beside it, and it was a ton of people just standing because their tentacles get so long.
Have you heard the theory that those squids or octopuses are from another planet?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? You think there's any truth to that? Because they can change colors, they can do a lot of things that no other species on Earth can do. What do you think about that?
I think it's pretty crazy that they're so advanced and you just bite them right up between the eyes and they die. So, but yeah. Yeah, you ever seen them when they catch them? They just get them and they just bite them right between the eyes and then they die. Like they change white from whatever color they are because their brains right there.
Had no idea, man. You learn something every day here.
Yeah, I watch fishing shows, and that's the way they do it. And a lot of fishermen do that. They'll catch them, especially, and then they just bite them and just throw them in the thing, and then they keep fishing for more.
Huh. And what do you call it? For me, on the lizard stuff, to me, I think that if it's true, if there's some sort of being that's out there that maybe perhaps is a lizard-like, I don't know if they're not from here. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe they are some kind of species that it's more advanced than us that we don't know about. They talk about the ocean. There's been a lot of UFOs, under, or whatever they're called, the underwater ones. And I've seen a couple of clips where they have, like, you see these lights under the water just moving real quick. In fact, in the intro, the jellyfish UFO is said to have been flying in the air and gone into the water for about 17 minutes. And then it resurfaced and then took off at an incredible speed at a 45-degree angle. And, it just kind of makes you wonder, maybe perhaps there's some sort of species we don't know about that's in the ocean. And I think that probably has more of a likelihood than some species coming from another galaxy into our own. I think that the chances of that happening are still slim. I'm not saying I think that's what's going on, but I would think that would be more than likely than aliens coming from another galaxy. But it is interesting that there's so many UFOs that are being seen that are transmedian, meaning they're going from the air or from air to water. Do you think there's maybe I don't know, maybe they're grabbing fuel of some sort and they have some sort of advanced propulsion using hydrogen? What do you think is going on there?
It could be. I mean, the ocean is so vast, man, that we haven't discovered not even half of it, right? We've only seen like less than like 13% or 20% of what's actually down there because our machines can't go that deep.
Yeah.
So to me, there's a lot of creatures in this world that don't seem like they're from here. Like you mentioned the octopus, the squid.
Yeah.
Jellyfish to me look like something out of this world.
Yeah.
It looks like a plastic bag and it's got poisonous tentacles and
That's true.
And there's so many different the variations of them, like here and at the beach, they're like, they had a warning last time, be careful with I think they were calling them with the blue dragons or something like that.
Oh wow.
There's like the little blue jellyfish things that pop up, but their things are poisonous. And people on the beach pick them up thinking they're harmless, and then they're pretty poisonous.
Dude, there's been some crazy things that I've seen people pick up. I remember, I don't know what the fish was, but it had like some deal that if it stung you, it was going to kill you. And there
Yeah.
was some girl on like TikTok or some other, and she's like walking around holding it up, like, look guys, look at what I found. Look at this weird creature.
Yeah,
And she put it back in the water, and then like afterwards she found out that those are very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, there's the box jellyfish are pretty dangerous, and there's also, I think the one you're talking about, maybe the one it's an octopus. It's
Yeah.
like a little baby blue. I can't remember what they're called. Something ring octopus, and those are very poisonous.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how an octopus has a beak. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, you know how they eat. They have a beak, man.
No, yeah, that's true. I've seen them at the at the aquarium. There's one you can actually touch or pet or whatever at the San Antonio Aquarium, and yeah, I saw it. They were feeding it, and I could see the beak come out. It was weird.
Yeah.
Allie Book says, Daniel, what do you think about the story from the 50s of the couple getting abducted when they were driving home? Blue, are you familiar with that story?
If it's in Nevada one, I think I know which one they're talking about. But
I'm not sure, but
it's the one.
I'm assuming this is Betty and Barney Hill. So Betty and Barney Hill were traveling home. This was back in the 50s, and they experience, I believe it was like loss of time. And you know, I think Barney starts having these nightmares, and he goes and sees a psychologist. They start doing some hypnotherapy, and they hypnotize him, and he starts to remember an abduction. They also, I believe, hypnotize her, and she recalls the abduction as well. They remember things very vividly. They talk about the Greys. They talked about how where they were from, and I think she said that they were, I think, not that bad to her, you know, or at least one or a few of them weren't. And then she was talking to one, and she asked if she could keep something, and they said yes. And then another one came over and said no, but I think all the talking was like telepathically or whatever. And then like, so she just kind of knew what they were saying. It was like they were putting thoughts in her brain, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And there was a map, and the map was, I guess, of their home galaxy or whatever, and it ended up being the reticuli system, which is crazy because that's what Bob Lazar ended up saying that the aliens from Area 51 were from. Well, anywho, they recall all this stuff, and you know, a lot of people wonder, is it true or not? And the other thing too, I forgot, going back to that star system, you know, she drew it out, and it ended up being correct. You know, I don't think they knew about that star system until then. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's accurate. And I think that, I'm not sure if that star system is actually visible also from where they were abducted from. And so it's kind of interesting, you know, how she got that right. And, you know, it was interesting about the reticuli stuff. The other thing is that kind of like brought some credibility, so to speak, was that these guys were coming forward with their story, and they were an interracial couple, which back in the 1950s was probably they probably had some hard times with that. And so being in the spotlight,
Unheard of.
Yeah, unheard of. And also, you know, having the spotlight put on them with that caused a whole lot of other problems for themselves. And it's highly unlikely that they would have obviously wanted that type of attention. And so given those things, what do you think, Blue? What do you think about that story? Did you hear about it? Did you know about it?
That's the one I was thinking. We talked about it before in the show, so that's why.
Yeah.
It jolted my mind. You know, this is Hyman's favorite subject, so Hyman should have jumped on today because he knows all these stories from the back of his hand, man. I know a few of these, and I never answered me back.
I sent him a message. He never answered back. He's being a jerk. I'm gonna get on to him when we play Fortnite later. Afton reminds us, do you have concerns about your home address or other personal information being exposed online? Use the link below and also in the comment section. It's also going to be in the description to get 5% off on DataSeal. DataSeal basically takes out all your information off the interwebs. Go Google yourself and you'll see and find yourself a lot of information. If you want that stuff off, like your address, phone number, voting preference, I think that's important around this time of year, around this time of, when elections coming up here pretty soon, religious preference, any of those things, you want those off, check out DataSeal. Thank you so much for reminding us that. Swamp Rose says, I interviewed a woman who had an alien encounter on my channel. She's pretty famous voiceover artist. She played Harley Quinn in the cartoons. Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome. Man, I was watching some videos earlier this week because remember I told you I was having to get a state exam or a state license for this project I'm doing. And we had to watch some videos for the training, or not for the training, but it was like helpful videos to help you study or whatever. And the dude on the video, I swear to God, he was like a twin of the guy that says, the dry eyes commercial. You know what I'm talking about? Dry eyes with the red stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Super monotone. Oh,
yeah.
Man, I almost fell asleep like I don't know how many times.
Yeah. I always remember that the beach ball with the sand in it, and he just poured some water on it. Clear eyes with dry eyes, something like that.
Jason Truth says, hey, dudes, I'm a UFO expert, and I'll tell you all UFOs are military programs. Think black budget technology, no aliens too far. CIA been spinning UFOs as ET when it's our programs, Lockheed Martin as EG. Yeah, no, I mean, there's Lockheed Martin. There was another one that was pretty big for also being possibly responsible for these things. I don't disagree with that. And I do think that the government does maybe perhaps put some things out there to make you believe. In fact, Big Blue sent this over, and this is a very credible UFO video, but I do think it's our government. I think it's our president.
Yeah. You see, didn't even put his blinker on, man. How rude.
That is crazy though, man. That is pretty. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'd get in that and I'd drive that on the highway too. That is awesome. All right, let me take that off. All right.
I mean, I can imagine riding that at a parade float or something. But on the highway speeds, man, I'm surprised that bad boy didn't take off and leave the go-kart under it behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to what Truth was saying about Lockheed Martin and stuff like that, that Tic Tac video, which one I'm talking about, right? With the FLIR image of the little Tic Tac thing that was flying around or whatever. And then you had Lieutenant Graves, I think was his name. I could be wrong on that. He brought it up saying that he tried to follow one and that it showed up at his next point of, where he was supposed to go in his training. What do you think about that? Do you think that was actual extraterrestrials, or do you think that was possibly us?
I want to say it could be possibly us, but for it to know where he's going to be next, I mean, they got to be able to predict the future, so could have been a UFO. I don't know. Because if it would have been able to predict the future, and they would have predicted us seeing it, so they would have not shown up. So I think it's just a coincidence.
No, I don't believe it's a coincidence, bro. I think that it was actually us, and this is why. Favors, I think is his name. He said that when he was flying, that he saw it hovering above something under the water. They looked like a cross almost. I guarantee you that was probably some sort of like submarine or something that it was docked onto or whatever. And for it to be going there during a training situation tells me that, one, when you're in a training situation, they didn't have any live ammo or weapons, right? So they couldn't shoot it down. So in case, one of these guys got a little worried or scared and pulled the trigger on it, and you're not risking the chance that they're going to blow up your probably multi-million-dollar toy that you have up there flying around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you're Elon, then you'll probably blow a few up. Trying to get it right.
You might do it to yourself.
And when you are out there seeing these silver gray Tonka trucks out there, don't worry. They run out of gas pretty, and not even gas. They run out of juice pretty quickly. That they're not aliens. the Cybertrucks, man, they hype them up so bad. They're just big paperweights.
Yeah, dude. There's a couple that are in my neighborhood, man. They look pretty cool.
I don't know. I was reading. I mean, of course, these were. I'm not sure what state they were at filling them up, but supposedly, I think the max charge on them are like a little bit under 200 miles, and it takes.
I think it's under 300.
Yeah,
it's close to 300.
But it takes like 12 hours to fully charge the bad boy.
Yeah.
And it costs like $70 to fill it or charge it. Like they were saying something ridiculous in California or something.
Dang. Well, electricity
rates is very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's through the roof, man. Like 30, 40 cents a watt in some places. Hey, look, this is another video. This one's a real one. This is actually from a pilot. You tell me what you think this is, Blue. I want your expertise opinion. We know that you study this quite a bit, and you should know. Let me make sure. I don't think I have the music on, but let me make sure. So, what do you think that is poking out of the clouds?
I don't know. That's like a little Geico lizard reminding you to get Geico insurance or something.
Hey, we're not sponsored.
I mean, it's a gecko. It's a gecko.
The only problem I have with this, at first when I saw it, I was like, man, that's interesting. That's weird. It's like Loch Ness Monster sticking its head out of the clouds though. And then I wonder where's the shadow at on the cloud? Shouldn't there be a shadow on a cloud from this huge old thing? What do you think, Blue?
I don't know. It depends. The sun and I don't know. But to me, it looks like
the other thing too.
Like it looks weird, like snow or something.
Well, no, it's supposed to. It's a pilot or somebody on a plane. I think you can. At one point, you can kind of see the plane. I think. Could be wrong. Yeah, right there. You can kind of see the bottom of the wing.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's. I find okay. So this person is zooming in on it, and maybe they can see it with the naked eye, but there's nothing there yet. And I find it weird that they're zooming in already on something that's not there. Oh, you know what? Maybe it is there. It's just, yeah, it is there. It's that little black dot, right? No, it's not. It just pops out of nowhere. Yeah, so they start zooming in before it's visible. And I don't see a shadow. I'm calling this a fake. Calling it a fake right now.
It doesn't look too real to me either, but I don't know. But people like making the spoof videos, it gives them some views and likes. Remember to hit that like, guys, if you're doing a spoof video too. So.
Yeah. And this was off of a Twitter page called Quert Ninja, QERTNINJA. Quert Ninja, if you want to go check out those videos. There's a few of them. Maddie asks, what do you think about the wow signal? Blue, are you familiar with the wow signal?
No, I don't know.
So back in I want to say in the 70s, there was, I think it was like SETI or something, or the early thoughts of what SETI was. They were listening out for, I guess, radio transmissions and in the cosmos, and they got something that was repeating itself, but it was brief. Like it was just like maybe a minute or so. They recorded it. maybe even less than that. It may have been a few seconds, but it was something that was repeated. It wasn't like a star or anything like that. It was a signal, and then it disappeared, and they never could find it again. But it was out there in the middle of nowhere. But some people say that it may be, possible communication with UFOs, and that's the other thing too. Like, why don't we see their travel? Right, if they're able to travel between the galaxies and stuff, shouldn't we see like time or space kind of bending and stuff as they go from one spot to another?
I don't know. I would say they probably have some kind of cloaking device or something to cover them up, but I don't know. They don't always cover them up if they're truly spaceships. So
Yeah,
or maybe they disguise themselves. They fly next to the comets that are always flying by us.
they're disguising themselves as the comet. Well, here's the thing. I always just thought that that there would be some sort of repercussion to bending time and space to travel faster than light, right? Like if it was bending really bad, like to get from one galaxy to the next, wouldn't the stuff in between there be affected by this?
Maybe. I would think that they probably have like I don't know. They would have to be traveling crazy speeds and their ship not fall apart and them not run into something that's in the middle of the way. So they must have some really smart computer systems.
Well, that, or they're not bending that much space and time, right? Maybe perhaps the bending of space and time is 30, 40 feet. You know what I mean? But what it's allowing them to do is allowing the craft to travel, faster than light. But I mean, it's not going to be instantaneously. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to take some time to get from one place to another. The other thing is too, like, how would you control that? Like if there was an alien, right, and they just dropped off a UFO, boom, right there, can do all those things. You flying it, Blue? You getting in it?
Sure, I don't even need a manual.
You saw Independence Day. My thought is, though, it would be cool, it'd be fun, but you hit the wrong button and you end up the middle of nowhere. And it's not like there's GPS on those things where, return home. You got to figure out how to get back home. And if you end up lost somewhere like that, I mean, that's the premises for Lost in Space with Will Robinson in them. That's scary, man.
And there's no robot to protect me out there.
No, there ain't. We got to build one first before you get on it. Canadian True Crime Buffs gives 5 Drunk Turkey Show memberships. Make sure you guys collect those. Make sure your gifts are on. If you want to be a member and you don't receive one of these gifts, you can just hit the join button. If you're on a Apple device, if you hit the description, it should say become a member, and they'll have a link for that to happen.
Thank you, Canadian True Crime.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate. Man, she's awesome. She's always helping out. She's always supporting the channel. She's always helping out, giving out memberships, and I truly appreciate her and all the other mods that are here, and the mods that aren't here. I know that sometimes the UFO stuff isn't everybody's cup of tea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When people like anxiety, and they don't like this kind of stuff. And that's a joke from Inside Out too. I just saw it today.
Let's do this, Jason. Email me. We'll have you come on. We love to talk about some real UFOs.
Yeah, and show us your dark videos you have, the real ones.
Yeah. Let's see. Afton says, Daniel, that UFO car got pulled over by Oklahoma State troopers for non-visible plates. They were on their way to Nevada for a UFO convention. Yeah, you probably need to tow that there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure of driving it all the way across here. I did see something about that vehicle being pulled over somewhere. I didn't know the story behind it. That's funny. I wonder from where they went from. I mean, they were pulled over on their way there in Oklahoma. Where did they start off at? That's the good question. You know what I'm saying?
Whose grandma was that? Because that looked like somebody's grandma or grandpa, but it's one of our listeners. He's like, I'm here, guys.
That'd be great. If that's true, we'll fly out there. Me and Blue need to take a video of us driving that thing. Jason says the breakaway civilizations we have to break away back in now to roll. Put the black budget technology UFOs. There's why suddenly Congress pretend they're suddenly interested in UFOs. You know, I was talking to a guy today, and one of my homies that I work with, and you know, I was telling him about the show and that we're gonna be doing UFOs. Yeah, he was like, "You believe in that stuff?" And I was like, "I did, man." Until the government said they were real, and then I don't know. When the government was denying it, I was like, "Man, there's definitely aliens here. They're lying." Now that they're saying it's true, I don't know about that no more. What do you think, Blue? You think the you think there's more than just us?
I think so. There has to be. This world is big enough for everybody, and you know, and we can figure out the science and stuff, how to fly up there, send telescopes and everything up there. They can figure it out too eventually. You know, they might be an older civilization than us, or a younger one. Who knows?
Hey, Blue, what would you do, like, or what would you think we would do if we found a civilization? Let's just say we get advanced, right, and we discovered the possibilities of traveling and seeing far distances in real time, right? Because that's the other thing too. You know, looking through a telescope, supposedly because of the way that, you know, how light travels and how long it takes for light to get here, we're looking into the past. So we would have to see something in real time. So if we had something that was, you know, up to that range, and we found a planet out there with intelligent beings. Now they're not smart, or let me rephrase this. They're about 1950s human beings, you know, that technology range. What do you think we would do in that scenario as a civilization?
Oh, isn't there a movie that our civilization is like that, where the aliens are living like in homes and they're like in the 50s and we show up and we're like, it's all backwards to us because they're like living in the old times. There's a movie like that. I just can't remember which one it is.
Oh,
it's pretty crazy.
I've not seen it, but same scenario. I don't know what happens in that movie, but do you think that, you know, we would just watch them from a distance? Do you think that we would make ourselves known? What do you think our government would do in that type of situation?
Try to study them and control them first before anybody else.
Control them?
Try to control everything else.
That's true. That is true. You're not lying there. You know, I think that if they don't have anything to offer us, right? If they don't have some sort of technology that we don't know about, right? Now, I highly doubt that they're going to have, like, you're going to see a 57 Bel Air out there, right? But you're going to see a car that is, or a vehicle that is, combustion vehicle, maybe some kind of very primitive type of movement, right? And if you can, you know, they probably don't have anything to offer us unless there's some sort of element that is, you know, natural to their planet. Let's just say they're in a binary star system, and because of that, there's some sort of element that's not natural to our system. And this element, let's just say like element 115 that Bob Lazar speaks of. Let's just say that was available and readily available, like oil is for our species. But that type of fuel, when, you know, under control, could create a huge amount of energy that would allow these beings to travel, maybe perhaps faster than light, or maybe discover how to manipulate gravity because of this fuel. They may not be as advanced as us as far as how far along we've gotten, but they may have had a access to something that we don't. Now, in that situation, I think that we'd probably make ourselves known. We'd probably offer some of our technology, like if they were, still communicating through wires. We can show them what satellites are and all these other things. But if there's nothing to offer them or for them to offer, I think we just watch them. Now, do you think we would get involved if they started a war amongst themselves?
Probably not. But, we do try to help everybody out. So I know somebody was asking for an email earlier, so I put it out there.
Cool. It's drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com. Appreciate that. I'll take you guys with me on the TR-3B. Nice, from Lockheed Martin, and we'll go to Mars next year. Takes less than 6 months to get there. Dang. Well, I think there was some sort of hyper speed something that was supposed to make traveling there. I think it was with like hydrogen or something of that nature. Traveling to Mars like in a matter of weeks. Be interesting. But yeah, the TRB3, or the TR-3B, do you know what that is, Blue?
No, I don't.
It's that triangular UFO with like this big circle thing in the middle where I'm assuming it's just propulsion. I think the stealth bomber was probably the cause of a lot of TR-3B sightings back in the day. But yeah, they still show up. Guys, we have breakaway civilizations, multi-planetary civilization on Mars, far side of the moon. Its military elites, fact, and older human high-tech civilization made there too. I mean, it's possible. There was this one guy. I think it was maybe it was Israel, or it was another foreign country. He was the in charge of the space program, and he spoke of a galaxy federation with multiple species and human beings and bases on the moon. Blue, we haven't gone to the moon in a long time, and some people speculate that we've never been there. If we could go to the moon, what do you think would be the advantage of being there?
I think just to see what minerals are there, man. And see what kind of... Because
you can send a little rocket and they can collect it and send the data back. You don't need to go up there and do that. What would be the reason to put a base there?
I mean, it would be either to see other stuff coming before we would get it on Earth, or to protect Earth. But imagine our weapons are... I mean, they might be obsolete to what's coming.
Right.
Who knows?
So the only advantage that I could see is if we had a base on the far side of the moon, right? And we could put a telescope or things like that, and we wouldn't have the atmospheric distortion or interruption when trying to see far out distances. Maybe perhaps on the moon, we could see things clear like infrared or things like that without having to go through the atmosphere. Those things maybe are things, it'd be defense type stuff, making sure nobody's coming, or asteroids or comets, stuff like that. That's the only thing that I can see a reason to put a base up there. But if there are, other species that are out there and they can travel and reach Earth, I think you kind of want something out there at that point. That way you can get to it a lot quicker, depending on where you're at. I mean, it would suck if you're on the other side of the Earth and they're you know what I mean?
Do you think the main theory, I mean, I see a bunch of theories out there. One of the main theories is saying that they're, trying to populate Mars and populate the moon, because we're trying to figure out where would our next home be suitable if this place or planet dies.
I don't know, man.
I mean, that's one of the theories that's out there, is that people saying global warming, all these horrible storms, hotter summers, colder winters. What if it all goes to crap and then
The
Earth becomes inhabitable?
I think the likelihood more would be, if anything were to be something like that to happen, it'd be impossible to take everybody off of this planet, obviously, right? And to move so many people one place or another, that also would be difficult, unless you did some sort of like bank of like sperm and egg bank, and you take that with you, and you take a select few people to repopulate it somewhere else. But to take people and to find something more suitable now, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be kind of difficult. Terraforming another planet so that it's suitable for our species would be highly difficult to do. I think whatever issue, I think it would probably be a lot easier if we had the technology to go out there and travel that far. If you're not familiar with the movie Interstellar, in that movie there's like this ring, and the ring is basically a planet, and it spins, so it creates fake gravity, and they're basically living in the inside of this ring as it's spinning, and it's got houses and stuff like that. I can see that being a more suitable thing to do versus trying to terraform another planet. I think that'd be difficult, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. Maybe they're trying to set up for the instance of let's say World War III happens, and then another war happens, and we destroy the planet ourselves. We need somewhere to take surviving population until it all comes over. See what there's water, food. What can they find under the surface of the moon? Or maybe there's people living in there. You never know. I mean, one of the cool movies that just came out. It came out like a couple months ago in theaters, but I just saw it yesterday on Max. Was the new Godzilla and King Kong movie?
Yeah.
And it shows a different Earth and inner Earth, and I thought that's a pretty cool theory.
Interesting.
That there's like a life and its own atmosphere inside the core of the Earth, and that's where Godzilla and King Kong come from.
I mean, there's what's his name? General Byrd, I think was his name. He took a trip to, was it the North Pole? Maybe it was the South Pole. One of the poles. And Operation High Jump, I believe is what it was called. And he came back writing that there was a hole at the center of the pole, and that there was intelligent life and other species that were inside. That maybe this is where some of the UFOs and aliens come from. That from an inner hollow Earth. I don't know, man. I don't think we've seen another planet out there like in our solar system that's hollowed out like that with a hole. So I don't understand why ours would be that way. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean, but really, we haven't explored the other planets, because technically we went to the moon. But for how long would they be able to be up there? You know what I mean? If they went, not for long. I mean, they spent like less than a couple of days up there. They didn't spend no years, months digging around, moving stuff around,
right?
Seeing if the water is drinkable or not. Testing stuff out. They brought a few samples of, and what if they need to dig deeper?
Right. I mean, the thing is, if there was something underneath the core or underneath the surface of the Earth, light wouldn't be able to get there. So there wouldn't be any plants or plant life, because there wouldn't be the ability for what's it called when a plant, the chlorophyll and the whole 9 yards. They wouldn't be
photosynthesis.
Yeah, there you go. That was the word I was looking for. They wouldn't be able to do the photosynthesis thing. And you would have beings that probably have big, large black eyes. So, it's probably just all peopled out because they're trying to capture light. So the gray and their skin probably would be gray. So, you're not grays could be from the center of the earth. I mean, that would make sense. But I don't know, man. I mean, what are they going to eat? What do they eat? I don't understand it. And so,
I mean, there is some life down there. I mean, I've seen some. I like watching those videos where people go down in caves and they find new species of animals living in these caves. Like there was I can't remember what the name of that YouTuber was, but he went down and it was a deep cave where he was down there, and they found a new species of like a crawfish and stuff like that. They weren't even red or dark, the darkness on it. They were white crawfish living down there. And then there was catfish down there, and their eyes were tiny. They were still getting the nutrition to live off the water from the rain that comes in and flushes all the way down there. So there would be species of things down there, but they just be different.
Yeah, no, you're right. They would be very different, and it'd be interesting, man. I mean, if you're talking about like hidden caves that go miles down, okay, maybe I can see something like that possibly. But like an inner earth that's hollow. Like, have you seen the pictures of it? Like, there's supposedly like this big old hole right through the middle, and then I think some speculate that there's like a sun in the middle of it, and that's where plants and dinosaurs and all these sorts of things come in. And
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know about that one, but cave system somewhere, maybe. I mean, let's just go back to what we're talking about with like Atlantis and stuff. I mean, who's to if you were to go back in time, like yourself, if you got a time machine and you went back to I don't know, that time, or even in the ages of the dinosaurs, you probably wouldn't be able to survive because the atmosphere was different. The oxygen levels are different. You probably you'd probably survive, but it'd be very difficult for you at first.
Yeah. I would say the oxygen would be more pure. It'd be more pure back then.
Maybe, man. I mean, yeah, there'd be a lot more oxygen, which I think if you get too much, you can kind of poison yourself, can't you?
No, I mean, it does the body good, but it can also do the body bad. Because, like I said a couple of shows ago, the oxygen that we breathe in is normally 24%. Like oxygen, the rest is like carbon monoxide, and then not carbon monoxide,
carbon dioxide.
Dioxide, yeah. And then it's also a couple other, like 2 other elements in there. And when when you take in oxygen from a tank, it's 100% oxygen. It's been filtered through, and nitrogen. Somebody put nitrogen, yeah. And some people get like a headache and high, like feeling from it because it's pure,
right?
And it's flammable at that. I mean, oxygen is combustible. Those tanks can blow up because of the pressure, and then how much pure oxygen is in
there. Jason says it only takes a few weeks, and you get climatized. Military have it all figured out. And yeah, that's quite possible. If you were to go back to those places, but I'm just saying, like, if maybe perhaps they did something right, the Earth changed. I think there's been fossils that people have found in the middle of America. So at one point, the Earth had not so much more water, but the caps weren't as frozen, so the sea level was a lot higher. And I think there was like an ice age, and then it unfroze, but not as much as it has been, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a geologist, and I'm not an expert in that. But um, if they did something and they screwed themselves up, where maybe perhaps the atmosphere was thicker back in the day, right, because of the vegetation or whatever, and they screwed themselves and they needed to go underground to protect themselves because they're maybe more sensitive to things like light. Think of like a vampire.
Yeah, I mean Texas used to be underwater.
Yeah,
for sure. Even like not here around San Antonio, but when like in Del Rio, I would always find the petrified rocks with the shells in them, the seashells in them. You know.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was in an antique store, and they had the rocks like $100, and they were selling it by the pound. I said, "What the hell?" I said, "I used to get those all the time at my mom's house and just throw them in another pile with a bunch of them. I'd always find them out there."
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, Texas definitely was underwater. I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, if maybe they screwed up something with their technology or whatever the case may be, and it made them made Earth less habitable for them, made it more habitable for us, so to speak, right? I mean, things evolve, things change, things adapt, so to speak. And maybe perhaps they had to go underground, which is why they're gray, why their eyes are fully black. And because the reason why their eyes would be fully black would be because they're trying to find light, right? That's why eyes get dilated. When they're dilated, they're all blacked out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blue. That's right?
I don't remember right now.
Somebody's eyes, when their eyes are dilated, when it's dark, their eyes will dilate to search for light.
I mean, they dilate when you hit them with light. Yeah.
I thought dilate means get bigger.
Well, they do get bigger. Yeah.
If you hit them with light, they get smaller.
They get smaller. Yeah.
And so, I digress. I would assume that you'd probably see some of those traits and something like that. So it'd be interesting. It's an interesting topic. Let's see. I think I found this new video. Let's look at this one. I don't know if I showed you this one. There's some kind of older video with some sort of like boomerang looking object just kind of turning in circles in the air. It's an older film, you can tell. Oh man, this is that one film. What is this one called? It looks like a hat to me.
Hubcap.
It could be a hubcap.
I know one film's called the Hubcap or something like that.
It's in the air. Well, I mean, it could be suspended by something. It's kind of zoomed in pretty close.
And then right there, there's like one of those top toys.
The other thing is, though, didn't the Nazis have something like that? Some kind of craft that was shaped like that?
I know they used the blimps a lot, and they were into the hydrogen blimps or whatever.
I'm gonna look this up. I'm fairly positive the Nazis had some sort of like craft that was shaped like that. Supposedly, there's a lot of conspiracy behind it. Yeah, I'm looking at them now. It kind of looks like that shape.
The rumors were you'd find something shaped like that in Hitler's top sock drawer, and he would use it at night to make.
I'm gonna send you a picture, Blue. I'm gonna send it right now. The picture in of the Nazi blimps or Nazi ships. I mean, this video was taken a while ago. I don't know if it was in the 40s. 74. This is the flying saucer, San Clemente Island. Oh man, I pulled this down. San Clemente Island, California, December 1974. All right, so let me hit it back over here and pull up this this photos I just sent you. But I mean, I think that most likely those UFOs and those saucer shaped stuff was probably us too. You know what I mean? The Nazis did have flying saucers. 1943, as big as a football field. Interesting.
I know their blimps were that big. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you know they exist. As if the Nazis had that, we should all surrender and save lives immediately. No. They had stuff that was shaped weird. Didn't mean that it flew or handled better than anybody or anything else. You know what I mean? It was like I think the United States also had one. It looked kind of funny. I've seen the video of it where it's what do you call it? Son of a gun, I only saved one. Where it's moving around, and there's like it kind of looked like that thing on the street that we're driving where they were sticking their head up. It kind of had like that bubble on it, and it kind of got off the air and kind of wobbled around, and then it fell back down. You know, it was shaped like a saucer. It doesn't mean that it was like super advanced that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only thing I remember like that was one of their blimps or something that they were trying to go up, and it blew up like right when it took off.
I don't remember that one. All right, I got these photos. Let me pull them up. Here they are. One last second right here. So this is the I think one of the Nazi ones that was pictured. So as you can see, it has wheels in the bottom. It probably has some sort of like jet turbines under the bottom that are facing up. And, you know, I guess they got smarter and turned them sideways and made it pointier, more aerodynamic. But yeah, here it is. Here's one of them. I think this was their design that they had. So that craft that was flying around there from 1974. I mean, could it be, you know, something like what do you call it? Us taking this for a spin, trying to figure it out. You know, here it is again, one more time, so you can see now that you've seen what that Nazi thing looked like. I hope we don't get demonetized for saying Nazi so many times. There's a good chance, and if we do, please hit the like and subscribe button because we'll need it. But what do you think there? Kind of looks the same almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe this guy one line after all. Maybe one line after all. That's interesting. The TR-3B has a magnetic field disrupts MFD switch. It's interesting. Let me see what you sent me, bro. Oh, you sent me some of these. All right. Oh, this is the video of the blimp you were talking about.
Yeah, there's this conspiracy one about it too. That's a conspiracy one. They're talking about it, but
Werner Van Braun, yeah. So this is the one that you're talking about that blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's all full of helium, dude, which is like the last thing you want on fire. You know what I mean? And so that's unfortunate, man. Let me see what's the other one that you sent. It's probably the same thing. Oh, this is the building of it.
Yeah, the blueprints.
Good deal. Dang, man, that's huge, dude. It's crazy.
They were said to be like football sized. I mean, I seen only like the Goodyear blimp, like at a football stadium once, but you don't see those things no more as often no more.
Yeah, just that football games,
practical. Man. Yeah, they're not practical.
No, and what they're used at for football game is for advertising. So it flies over the stadium. So 60 to 80,000 people can witness it in the air and say, hey, Goodyear's still around. I need some tires. That's how it works, y'all. That's how it works. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Subliminal advertising.
Yep. But yeah, man, interesting stuff, man. It's been an interesting show. We're gonna Jason, email me, man. I do want to get you on. You got some interesting topics and stuff that you're saying. I want to pick your brain a little bit on some of these things. I'm not. I may have watched too many podcasts on a lot of different alien conspiracies and time travel stuff, so I'm a little bit versed in some of the things. Everything that we discussed today was off of memory. I have nothing in front of me that brought up anything. So I mean, a lot of the questions were in the comment section, and as I answered them as we went. So I'm somewhat familiar. So I think I can stay with the conspiracy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we started off the show as a conspiracy show. I mean, we
still are, man. What are you talking about?
I know, but we've been on some famous conspiracy theorists shows. Doctor.
Oh yeah, man. We were at Dr. Skinner. He's 21 Productions. Yeah, that was cool, man. We gotta get him back on the show too, man. He had some great insight.
I had some pretty good information. So.
But yeah, no, we'll get Jason on. We'll that schedule. I think, guys, we're gonna probably start leaning more towards the UFO and conspiracy and skinwalkers and Bigfoots and those type of things. And we're still going to be covering also true crime as well. It's probably just, be honest, man. Like this, did you see the Karen Reed stuff that just happened?
No.
So it was a hung jury, right? And afterwards, John O'Keefe, he's the person that passed away. His brother Paul O'Keefe came out and did an interview. Now, I don't really know much about the case, but there were so many people who were dogging this guy whose brother died. He had nothing to do with the murder, but because he believes that Karen Reed, who was charged and arrested for the crime, committed murder. People call him stupid, ignorant, and when I went into the comment section, they were just degrading this man like no other. And I don't really want to be a part of that. Even though we don't add fuel to that fire. We're not the type that go out there and say, just for the conspiracy and for the clicks and the views about true crime stuff, this one true actual thing that's going on right now where there's real victims. I mean, I truly think that it was going to be an uphill battle, for prosecution.
That says she went home and they found the husband in the snow, right? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Okay, yeah. Now I know which one it is. Yeah. Yeah. No, man, that's crazy. I mean, there was an uproar last week, because I mean, it's funny to laugh at it because everybody else has, but it's like everybody is so mad that Rosa Parks didn't even have to ride the bus because her husband owned the car, but he still made her ride the bus to work. So everybody was mad at him because she had to ride the bus to work. So that was crazy.
Yeah. And just going back to the Karen Reed stuff, I don't know if she's guilty or not. I thought it was going to be an uphill battle for prosecution based on what Proctor did and the statements he made. He was looking for pictures of Karen Reed without clothing on her phone, was saying some inappropriate things to his supervisors, including that he hoped that she harmed herself to the extent of, the maximum extent. Not in those words, obviously. She has I think Crohn's disease, and he was, mocking that as well. He talked about looking for nudes on her phone. He talked about, there wasn't going to be an investigation because the guy apparently, I think he passed away at another police officer's house, and he didn't investigate those people inside the house. He never went in there and looked around. So regardless, it was going to be an uphill battle, right? I think the law enforcement screwed up in that case. That guy screwed up. He's been relieved of duty, and rightfully so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be an uphill battle, regardless of anything. But at the end of the day, in this interview, he said something that bothered me, right? He said that the morning that John O'Keefe died, she had called and said something to the effect that she wanted to go and see the kids, but she was only there for a few minutes to see the kids. Majority of the time was her packing her stuff, and that when she left, she called Paul O'Keefe's sister, I guess also John O'Keefe's sister, and told her something to the effect, just remember the bad times. I never want to speak to you guys again, or we're never going to speak to each other again. And he was like, they were like, why would you say that? You know what I mean? And then she had an interview, or her attorney had an interview where he had said that this was an accident and that there was no intent or any of those things. It was an unfortunate accident. And then they changed it to that it was that she had nothing to do with it. And then I think she had an interview where she said something to the effect that when they asked her, did you ask if you hit him? And she said, I did, or I hit him. Did I hit him? Or something like that. I hit him. There you go. They asked her if she said she hit him, and she said, I did, but it was preceded with a did and proceeded with a question. Some of those things were the things that they were arguing. So it very well, I don't know what happened, but it did seem like early on they were conceding to the fact that she did hit him and that it was an accident. And somewhere along the way, they changed their mind. And so I don't know. I don't know if there was enough to prove that she committed murder. However, if this guy would have done his job right, we would have known more or less if there was a vehicular manslaughter case that happened.
Yeah.
But to attack the brother, which is the more important thing about this, and still to attack him, like I looked into the comment section of that interview, and it's just disgusting. You know what I mean? It's disgusting the way they attack those folks. And
it happens in all the cases, man. You really look into them.
It shouldn't, man. Why do people have to attack victim members, family members?
They do it all the time. I see it in other cases. I've seen it,
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, even in the Koberger case here recently, I guess Kaylee's sister had some run-in with the with the law, and all we got were emails saying, "Are you going to cover it? What do you guys think about this?" And I'm like, what does this have to do with the murders there? Like, how does this say that Brian Koberger is innocent? Because it was all from the Kobergers, right? I wasn't getting anybody who thinks Brian Koberger is guilty texting me or messaging me or Facebook messaging me or emailing me saying, hey, what do you think about Olivia getting arrested and yada, yada, yada. It was all the Kobergers. That's all they could talk about. I don't understand how those two things align, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't understand, the attacking of the family members. I understand if she did something wrong. I don't know if she did. I haven't looked into it, but I'm not covering that case. The only case we're covering is the Brian Koberger case and how that affects anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with everybody that's saying that Proctor shouldn't have been investigated. He shouldn't have. And he shouldn't be a police officer or a trooper anymore. His credibility is shot. There ain't no district attorney or county attorney that would probably take another case from him. And so he's probably going to have to go into like the private eye type of industry to still be there. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I don't like the attacking. Yeah, so we're going to continue covering the cases that we've been covering, which is the Richard Allen and Delphi case and the Brian Koberger case. But we're going to kind of want to dip our toes into some more fun things too, like the UFOs, maybe some movie stuff. There's some movies that I've been watching that are pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Just let me know. I'll be here.
Well, guys, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. I'll be back. I'm not sure this Sunday, but next Sunday we do our members only. We're going to be doing that every other Sunday, a members only. I had one this past Sunday. So if you're a new member, you still have access to it. Go check it out. Also, if you're a new member, go to the members post. We have a Discord that's up. I'm still learning it. I'm still not on it as much as I should, but I am trying to get on it as more often as I can. Thank you guys for tuning in. Big Blue, take us out with some sort of weird holler.
Alrighty. So
It's not a holler.
Part 2 is spin on that thing.